Yes. So good evening. How are you?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening. How are you?
Good, good. How are you?
Great. Great. Welcome to the second session of our business analyst. Let's get started. So last time we had a look at this a quick process flow explained by the BA book, right? I hope you started studying BA book as of now. Have you all got BA book? I've shared last time with you on the WhatsApp.
Yes, sir. We got. Yep.
Got it, right?
Yes,
Swati ma'am, have you got the BA book?
yes, sir.
Sure, no problem. Who is 26? I forgot again. No problem. No. But let me. Okay, so let's go ahead. So last time we had a look at a good process flow in terms of business analysts. So what business analysts do? They first of all get oriented, get aligned with the business requirement. So we need to start understanding the domain and the background of a problem, where to which entities we are trying to serve here, to which delegates we are trying to address in terms of their vision to be noted or converted into product, project, solution, support services. Okay, and then discovery primary business objectives. With all those background, with all those thought process started sharing with us, we try to jot down some requirements, a list of requirements. This is what we normally refer as. It can be as simple as a Word file or an Excel file, depending upon your organization policies and procedure or the client demands, the stakeholder demands, right? So we basically discover primary business objective and then start listing down the requirement. Now, whenever we start listing down the requirement, we have to formulate a scope. Scope in the sense what has already included, what is the inclusion, what is the exclusion, what are the limits of this development, creation, updation, enhancement, what we are looking for. So we normally devise a scope statement. Pardon me for that. So when we define the scope statement, there we jot down what type of primary objectives we have, and the length and breadth of that objectives, or length and breadth of things we need to construct, we need to build in its given current assignment, current development, current work at hand, current solution development, and what all to be included, what all to be excluded. And again, this basically pertaining with a continuous conversation with our client, with our stakeholder, so that they keep guiding us in terms of what is the scope, what is the included, what is excluded, what type of functional requirement, what type of non-functional requirement, or what type of features we need to include, what type of features we can include in the second iteration, second phase, depending upon your planning or depending upon the stakeholders planning, which is a kind of mutual plan we build, a kind of a ballpark plan, you can say here, right? So we have first of all get ourselves oriented with the domain knowledge. uh, then we normally started building a list, and then we come up with a primary business objective, and then we start defining the scope. Okay, and we basically devise a scope statement. Then as a PA, as far as our own work concerned, we normally formulate a plan called business analysis plan. Now we will see what type of business analysis plan we have built, we have created in terms of executing our strategy, in terms of business analysis works overall. So these works do include various stakeholders list, various important requirement details, requirement backgrounds, and so on and so forth, where we normally devise a strategy for our own work. Which type of SRS template we are going to use within your organization's quality management policies and procedures. Then what all different members I might work with, what are the different stakeholders I'm going to discuss with, and so on and so forth. Okay, we'll have a look at a BA plan in depth after a few slides, but here we started formulating our plan in terms of how me as a business analyst is going to achieve these business analysis of a given problem, given solution, given project, given support, and the flora and fauna around it. Then define a detailed requirements. Here, I normally basically include this list of requirement in a template called SRS, System Requirement Specification. And there I try to detail the requirement up to a great level where I might create some sort of a UML diagram, use case diagrams, high level diagrams. There are some decision oriented artifacts which I need to create in terms of why I have chosen this way than the other way, and those kind of scenario. And then we'll basically include all the wish list, including performance parameter for a given solution, support services. Then we might also require some documentation or technical implementation details from a client. In case of client is looking for a particular way of developing this thing, including some specific third-party components. Now let's take a minute and try to understand what is a third-party component here. Third-party component is a kind of either ready-made product or a ready-made software or a ready-made entity which normally procure from the market. In our normal example which we discussed, that the enhancing attendance management system for a state farm. I'm working as an analyst with a technical giant called Infosys, and I'm trying to basically do a business analysis duty for a state farm, which is also a kind of technically advanced insurance agency. And we are trying to enhance their manual attendance system, a manual employee attendance system to a technical attendance system with the help of some third-party components like biometrics, iris scanners, or automated software solution, where all these biometric attendance will be taken without help of human intervention. And this data is going to go to the cloud centralized database. They have their offices in around 6 different countries, so their data gets pulled up at a single data center in North America or in Canada, whatever the client have been suggested, or the client have been partnered with the cloud service provider. So this way we do require some technical implementation detail from a client, like where would you like to have these cloud servers, where would you like to have these data to be pushed on the virtual server, how many biometric instrument can be really required, how many uh, uh, iris scanner do you require, what all support do you require in terms of technical guidance to the people, technical maintenance if at all required to this third party component as well. Because as a solution provider, as a project product implementation specialist, me as a business analyst and my organization as an Infosys is going to support that product throughout the warranty phase and then the support and maintenance phase. So we also start building this technical documentation. We take a help from client also, because it's a joint operation. We are working with the client in terms of getting their life easy, making sure their business do expands due to our enhancement, support, product, services, whatever we are supplying to them. So this way, I normally try to also build or get the support technical implementation documentation in order with the help of client, and so on so forth. Help the business implement solution in terms of our development team. I normally will help our implementation team at business at Infosys to support, to help to implement this solution at a client place, at a state farm place, at a different offices. I not personally go to every such situation. I don't normally go to every each and every places there. I might hire some local executive also to get those biometrics installed, or some vendor or somebody like that. But normally I need to say that they are installed and they are working and they are integrated with the software services. That's how. That's what the point number 7 means. Help the business implement the solution as well. Even this includes the training required to be given for a couple of employees, or for some trainers within the stakeholders within the client, so that they know how to operate the solution with the maximum ease, maximum efficiency. And then we also do a kind of satisfaction surveys. As a business analyst, I do help the development team to basically test, in advisory capacity to tell them if they are going wrong, if they are well aligned with the solution which we have discussed with the client earlier, and so on, so forth. Then also we assess the value of the created by the solution to the clients also after its release, after they have started using that solution. So this way is a standard 8-step process as we have as we have discussed last time in our BA book, from the BA book, right? Does anybody have any confusion? I also use some technical terminology here, which we'll see whenever we basically start understanding the depth of the each step here, and we'll basically take it to the final steps in terms of how the business process and policies are implemented at the ground with some hands-on practical experience. Does that make sense to you? Anybody have any confusion, question at this time?
No, sir, from my side.
So let's take a step further and let's start to understand what are the knowledge area and how we use BA book, as a referencing guide, as a Bible to create all these business policies, processes from a business analyst angle, right? So a guide to business analysis body of knowledge is called BA book or BA book. There are a couple of versions of pronunciation. You can choose either one. Is the standard of a practice of business analyst and is for the professional who perform business analysis task. So people like us, people who want to make a career in business analyst, we normally can refer to the BA book. Now this BA book gives you a clear idea in terms of what are the steps, what are the policies and procedure we should adopt, and then we normally build some templatization. We make our life easier for next version, next to next version, and so on and so forth. So what we normally do, if you're doing business analysis for the first time, we try to take help of a templatization available on the internet or a BA book itself. There are good number of templates available on the IIBA website, which is a kind of generic guidance point for all business analysts who want to make career in business analysis and the surrounding processes of that, right? So IIBA, and we've seen the site iiba.org, where, okay, let me take you to the site and you will understand what I mean by iiba.org, right? So I'll, IIBA website, which is a kind of a generic guidance point for all business analysts who want to make career in business analysis and the surrounding processes of that, right? So IIBA, and we've seen the site iiba.org, where, okay, let me take you to the site and you will understand what I mean by iiba.org, right? Pardon me for that. Where I was, basically going to this thing, and then I'll, yes, iiba.org. Could you see my, could you see my web browser here?
Yes, sir.
IIB.
Yes.
Yep.
I don't know what all. Okay, they want me to support to the Ukraine and all those things. Come on. Then it will be the actual site. Okay. Let me say get started. That's the start page they've changed, I believe. Login template. What the heck is that? I don't know. They again, I think change quite a good number of website, I believe, but no problem. So here, this is how the IIBA website looks like. So they tell you about the membership. You can be a member with with your just email ID and all those things. There are paid membership also. Then there are various certifications listed here. Be it a certified business analyst professional from IIBA. If you want to become a business analyst, you might do this certification. It's called CBAP certification, CBAP certification, which will give you a good idea of standardization in business analyst overall, right? And then there are many webinars. If you have time, please do enroll for this webinar. Mostly these are free. There could be some sort of a paid webinar also. Okay, so you might register for this.
Sir, a quick
Yes.
question. Sorry to interrupt. So for getting that CBAP, I think we need to show that we have a real time experience of like some few hours or I think right like 7,000 hours, something like that.
Okay. See, whatever you were, what can I say? Uh, let me park these questions till the end of these things, okay? And I'll guide you on that. Right now, let's go through the review of the slide.
Okay.
Yes, you can do it. I'll guide you how to do that thing, so don't worry on that part.
Okay,
Uh,
thank you.
you're talking about being certified. Being member, you don't need anything as such. Okay, so please don't worry about that. But for certification, yes, you do need. And I will not suggest you to do certification as of now because you need to basically have some knowledge or a hands-on experience as a BA to basically start working on the certification. And certification is just a kind of paper, right? Which you normally present to create your brand value or something like that. Okay, so we'll basically address that point in later stage. But right now, I think gathering knowledge or understanding what BA does is the most important thing we need to do as of now, right? So let's think it from that angle. Then we have career resources also. So please have a look at it. Please try to understand mm, how we can reach there. Then also, these are the good resources for learning BA tips, business analysis expertise. Like you can have a look at how to do scenario, how to run a virtual workshop because we normally work in a remote manner as of now. So we can understand what type of Zoom session we are using, what type of different remote learning, remote meetings tools we can use as far as the business analyst goes. And then we have I can't, okay, you have to start it like this. So understanding stakeholder, the agile extension, and all those things. So there are a good number of resources available on a IIBA website. Now here we have also blogs from these guys, from the senior business analyst who working as a business analyst for some years. You can have a look at this blog and basically get really good data in terms of how they've done it, how they take the templates or something like 3 ways business analyst can help agile transformation succeed. Agile is basically kind of flexibility in working of the overall management. Now we're going to learn agile scrum, skilled agile, and all those things in a step-by-step process. So right now, just try to understand agile is a way of managing the things flexibly, collaboratively. Flexible in the sense you are flexible with your client if they change their requirement, if they enhance their requirement even during the workforce, and we are going to learn how to accept those scenarios. So the 3 ways of business analysts can help agile transformation succeed is also kind of important block, right? And then again, these are the hashtag. You can go to the Twitter as well. If you have Twitter account, to enroll, with hash IIBA, where you get a really good, links, blogs sometimes come to your Twitter. So you don't have to visit this sites directly, and you basically understand a different, uh, important factors about IIB overall. Now I have just clicked how to become a member. Here they are basically going to guide us. If you want to be a member, what are the things you need to do in terms of how to join a new member, what are the member benefits. Then there are some plans. If you want to be a paid member, there are different plans. If you want to be a free member, there are different plans, and so on and so forth. So have a look at these things. There are around 6 certification right now, which IIBA is allowing you, or IIBA is basically letting you do certified in at these 6 different stages. So there's AAC, CBAP, which is one of the most prominent. Then we have CBDA, CCA, CCBA, CPOA, and ECBA. Okay, so there are different type of levels here, and you might want to understand the long form or details of this. Come on. So this like agile analysis, and so on and so forth. So you can basically try to venture around it. What are the certification and all those things? If you ask me as a mentor, as a guide, I'll not suggest you do certification right away. But whenever you join some organization, whenever you start working as a BA, I think after let's say 3 months or 4 months, then basically you can go for achieving this certification. It's not that difficult, but again, why to waste time and efforts and money just to get a paper saying okay, you know Agile certification, rather than I'll start preparing for all these policies, processes, and templates and do some more hands-on practice. That's how I suggest you. Okay, now let me take back to you, to our presentation, and we'll basically try to align ourselves in terms of how we can learn this BA book, standardization, templatization, and best practices from our training session itself. Okay, so as we have seen, a guide of a business analyst body of language, BA book, is a standard for the practice of a business analyst and is for the professional who perform business analysis tasks. Recognized globally as a standard business analyst, it guides the business professional with a 6 core knowledge area. We're going to learn all these six knowledge areas step by step by understanding how these knowledge areas going to guide us for the best practices, for the templatization, and basically understanding from a perspectives of inputs and outputs for a given knowledge area, for a given topic, to learn how business analysis policies and processes to be implemented for a given knowledge area, for a given topic, through the business analysis work we do for our client. Definition as per BA book analysis is the practice of enabling change. Now we are understanding the definition of business analysis as a practice. Okay, so business analysis is the practice of enabling change in an organizational context by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to the stakeholder. So there are a couple of important points here which I have bolded it out. Business analysis is the practice of enabling change. So we are changing something. We are changing the business. We are automating the business. We are enhancing the business so that the client, the stakeholder, can do the business efficiently, effectively, or basically they enhance their business up to a great extent in terms of removing many errors, obstacles within those policies and processes. So here we are enabling change in an organizational context for a company, for an organization in place rather than an individual. So we are looking for an organizational upliftment here and defining needs, defining requirements. Okay, needs is a generic word for requirement. Need is basically what I want, right? I need to have a tea, I need to have a coffee, I need to eat food, right? So these are the needs. Now what are the requirements here? Requirements is a kind of superset of a need. When I think I'm going to need a tea, I will basically make a tea, pour it in a cup, and sit peacefully and drink that tea. That will satisfy my need. That will satisfy my requirement. That will basically, I'm strategically plan the need to be executed as a requirement. So whatever requirement you collect, whatever needs you collect, you need to basically rephrase it into a strategic requirement. So need is a kind of unstrategic word. Requirement is more of a planning or strategic word as far as the need goes. And recommending solution. Business analysts normally recommend non-technical high-level solution or a bird's eye view. That's a normal thought process. That's a normal adoption of recommending solution. We are not architect, we are not a designer, but we are business analysts. So we analyze the business for creating a solution. So what we do, we are the gap between the business people and the technical people. We are the bridge between the technical people and the business people or the stakeholder. We basically communicate between these two with the bird's eye view, with the conceptual diagrams, with basically list of requirements, and we capture this knowledge and transfer to the development team, transfer to the creating team, and that's what we do, and we deliver value to the stakeholder. So we are delivering some conceptual value to the stakeholder in terms of what they have discussed with us, what are their requirements. So we build a list of requirements, we build high level diagrams, we build some decision analysis artifacts, and we supply them, we bundle them in a document called system requirement specification. I'm going to share with you even minutes of meeting templates where we normally jot down the minutes of meeting. Okay, and we'll discuss in depth. We also have a hands-on practice in terms of how to take down minutes of meeting, and wherever you join, they will give you a kind of minutes of meeting as per their policy, process, standardization of a given organization, and you need to fill in the blanks as far as the business minutes of meeting goes, right? So that's how we basically implement this thought process, implement these strategies as far as doing the correct business analysis, as in getting the requirement, listing the requirement, getting the requirement approved, building a conceptual solution, building use case diagram for some complex requirement, and then we normally build some decision analysis artifacts where I'll jot down some documentation, I'll jot down some uh, events and website to make sure why I have decided so and not so, and those kind of scenario. And we're going to do a hands-on practice on that also. And normally for artifact generation, we might use Excel or a fishbone diagram or a SWOT diagrams. And there are some 10, 11 different type of diagrams we're going to learn to make sure we create the right artifacts for the right decision making. About decision making artifact, let me give you a simple example, right? Let's say you are thinking of purchasing a car. Now, car is an instrument to go from a point A to point B, as simple as that. You can purchase a Dodge Neon, which is a kind of most economical car, or a car like that, right? Which can be, you can purchase a used Dodge Neon at the price of $3,000, $5,000, $6,000, and something around that, right? The new Dodge Neon can cost you around $15,000, $20,000, depending upon the accessories and all those things. Again, any of these cars can basically take you from point A to point B. So from your house to your son's school, to your house, to your office, and so on and so forth on a regular basis. Now, why spend 20, 30,000 rather than 5, 6,000? Well, this really gives you some sort of a reliability, some sort of a warranty, support and everything, right? And then you might not like to drive a used car. That's also a thought process. Now, these choices, what you make, you have to make sure whatever choices you make at that time, you normally create some artifacts. When you say, I have I have basically purchased a new Dodge Neon because I don't want to really, I don't find any reliable used car, which can be, it was not looking attractive enough to me, so that I might feel bad, right? So I have purchased a new Dodge Neon. And these type of things you might need to include it in that artifact, included in that document. Artifact is basically a document. It can be a Word document, it can be a receipt, it can be a kind of cost analysis, you have done on Excel, or the quote coming from your vendor, your car manufacturer, and all those things. So here, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to understand if I want to review this decision at a later stage, or if I want to analyze this decision at a later stage, I should be able to analyze it at its truthful value at a given time. So all these artifacts, the documents, the receipt, the acknowledgement will make sure I can understand the situation at that time wherever I created this artifact for a certain, instance of a time, certain time period where and where I deduced a decision, and then I go ahead with that. Okay, and I can prove to the auditors, I can prove this to our seniors reviewer within our organization, so that all these artifacts can basically guide them to the right decision, whatever we chosen at that time. And this is how we do basically the decision analysis. This decision analysis is a very important step in all management thought processes. And wherever you took a decision, you normally supply these artifacts, you normally preserve these artifacts, you normally archive these artifacts somewhere safe where you could be able to present them to the auditors, to the reviewer. Because in an organizational context, whenever you do something, mostly those processes are reversible and verifiable. What do you mean by verifiable? You have to verify your decision at a later stage with the help of this artifact. Have you got the importance of artifact and the meaning, and what type of artifacts you normally need for a given purpose? That we are going to see whenever we do the hands-on experience. But still, at this point, have you got an idea of what an artifact is? Anybody have any confusion? Can anybody explain what is an artifact, please? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
So can anybody try? What is an artifact? I've just explained what is an artifact, right? Anyone, just give it a try. See, unless and until you tried, you're not going to understand in detail, right? So for that matter, to understand, you need to put it in your own words. And if you basically go haywire, I'm there to guide you out. And there's nothing like wrong and right here. We are basically trying to explain a process which we are learning. So there's nothing called wrong, nothing called right here, but it's a step-by-step learning mechanism. So please, can anybody give me an idea what they understood by artifact?
So artifact is basically the document related to any kind of information. I mean, they are just the proof that we have kind of work on that document. Any kind of proof that generally work content, like any related document, is an artifact.
Perfect. So you got the point, right? So artifact is a proof, is a evidence, it's a artifact which can be presented to analyze the decision you made at a in the past, right? And that artifact is normally archived, saved, preserved. So I believe everybody understood the artifact, because these artifact words comes in my discussions every time. That's a normal word we refer, or I can talk about evidence, but evidence is more of a legal word. Okay, so let's artifact is the most suitable word for any document archived, preserved, to basically guide us in terms of the decision making process at that time, mostly in the past. Okay, so we understood the definition of business analyst. You might write down this definition after our session. Please have a look at the recording, and you'll be able to basically understand this definition by heart, so that if anybody asks what you mean by business analyst, you should be able to tell them. So business analyst is the practice of enabling change in an organizational context by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to the stakeholder. A stakeholder in the sense the business, the client. So there are a couple of points here we already discussed. So we are enabling change in an organizational context, in a corporate America, in a company, for an organizations, and then by defining needs, by recommending solutions that deliver value to the stakeholder. And that's why they pay you for doing analysis, they pay you to construct something new, they pay you to enhance something. The set of tasks and techniques that are used to perform business analysis are basically collecting requirement, taking minutes of meeting, collecting requirements, getting requirements sanctioned, as we've seen in the last slide, where how the process actually works for a business analyst. So we basically do meetings, collect minutes of meeting, we find requirements out of these minutes of meeting, then these requirements are converted to a high level diagram. We normally can be devised a use case diagram where we normally explain the complex requirement. We're going to learn and do a hands-on practice for use case diagram as well, and then we're going to move to a level where we should be able to conceptualize the solution. Well, after a certain time, after a certain number of minutes of meetings, after a certain number of requirements, we normally start conceptualizing a solution, and we normally continue this business analyst till we get actually what type of change are we looking for. Are we have enough needs or a requirement which can form a complete conceptual solution? And for that, you might do 5 meetings, you might do 15 meetings, you might do 20-30 meetings, depending upon the complexity, depending on the length or breadth of requirements you are collecting from your client. And that deliver value to the stakeholder. This is to make the stakeholders' life easy, stakeholders' business enhanced, efficiency built into that business, and so on and so forth. And all these set of tasks and techniques are normally referred as a business analysis. This is to be a liaison between client and development team. So what business analyst does, it's a liaison, it's a bridge between the technical team and the client team. A bridge at times to support business change, initiate solution conceptions, without conflict and confusion. And that's really makes one of the most important skill we should have is basically how to remove conflicts and how to remove confusion. This is to make sure that your communication should be at its peak, at its really communicating in the right way with the right words, and that's the most important part as far as the business analysis document goes. We have to remove conflicts, we have to remove confusion while discussing the vision, mission, policies given by a delegate, a client, stakeholders, and basically take those vision, convert it to a requirement, convert it to the high level conceptualization, and then present this whole thing as a conceptual solution to the development team, which basically start developing, designing, architecting, and so on and so forth. So now I believe you can understand how important is business analysis role is. If business analysis fail, every product, process, project, support, solution, services are going to fail. And that's how the criticalness of the business analysis work is. That's how business analysis are not an easy life in this scenario. But yes, business analysis do get appreciated up to a great extent than the other roles available in a typical corporate culture. Business analysts normally work with the very senior people, even at a client organization and your own organization. Because let's take an example of you as a business analyst going to a state farm, and let's say this is the Infosys first project with a state farm or a forest state farm. Now, what business analyst, what Infosys will do normally, you with a sales manager or a salesperson, go and meet this VP HR, who is basically a kind of visionary. We normally refer him as a product owner, but let's call a visionary who have initiated a thought process of enhancing their attendance management system. Why? Because he felt like that manual attendance system is really lengthy, error prone. There are lots of proxies happening on the ground. So I am paying the salary for the employee who have not came to our work and all those things also. And because of some manual dependencies, I really couldn't go every day, stand near the gate to check out the attendance. So what I need to do, I need to automate this process. I need to make sure there are least possible human intervention, and all these attendance has to be centralized, so that if an employee comes from a Chicago office to St. Louis office, his attendance should be marked correctly, even if there's a time change, even if there's a region change and everything. He must work for at least 8 hours or 9 hours, whatever the company policy and procedure is, to earn his pay. Now, how do you do it? Yes, that's the solution. I want to basically get implemented by Infosys. So you and your sales manager normally meet with this VPHR and try to understand what he have thought of in terms of automating the attendance management system. And this is the example we're going to discuss throughout our business analysis as well as project manager workshops. Project managers, the way we work for a given client, the way different policies, procedure, templatization, standard, best practices we implement while becoming a business analyst, while becoming a project manager. So what I do, I normally meet this person at his office with the sales manager. Let's say me, Ravindra, basically meeting a client called Keshav with my sales manager called Seema. I'm just taking any raw names here, and here we meeting Keshav, Mr. Keshav at his Bloomington office, where he normally operates from. That's a corporate headquarter of State Farm. And me as a business analyst at Infosys with my sales manager, Miss Seema, we're going to visit him because he expressed his wish to automate his attendance management system at a discussion or at a meet when he and Seema were discussing last time. So then to basically give a formal thought, me, Seema and Keshav meeting as his office. Just try to understand how business analysis starts. Now here, me as a business analyst normally take a voice recorder with me. So whatever we discuss is normally recorded on voice also, so that I don't miss a single requirement, single wish list, or an expression shared by the visionary or a product owner called Keshav. So here he start with talking about his problem. So even if I can include this problem statement, or what you can say executive summary for a given project solution support services, I'm going to develop for this state farm. So he starts with, you see, Seema, like, I have observed in the past few weeks, there are lots of proxies happening as far as the employee attendance goes. We have an employee attendance process where employee walks in through the door, he signs the attendance ledger. He normally gives his photo ID to the supervisor, who basically validates his or her name against the name he or she has signed in that attendance register. But what's happening? Sometimes the supervisor is on a call with a mobile, or he's looking at somewhere else, and these guys signs for a couple of people, and the attendance get marked. And then the employee might walks into the office after a couple of hours, or not came to the office at all. And these type of things which I have observed. Now I can't stop at a doorstep every morning and try to find out how many proxies have been made. So I want you to give me a solution, or give me a way how I can basically address this problem. So Miss Seema start, yes, that's really painful, and we've helped this client, that client, like this scenario. We might have done this, that. Do you think this is really a possibility for you? Like for client X, we have implemented some automated biometric attendance management system. There, we don't need to have somebody constantly monitoring or visualizing ID, because all these biometric are kind of a safer place to have these attendance recorded automatically. Now, Keshav say, yeah, that's really right thing. How do you think, how many biometric do we need for this office? See, I have around 6 doors to my corporate building. So I might want to have 6 biometric. Is it right? Mr. Singh say, yeah. But, let it basically, uh, not, form a confirmed opinion about this. Let's analyze this problem. Let's analyze this solution. Let's build a conceptual solution in a step-by-step, more scientific approach, what we normally call as a business analyst. And here I have a Ravindra with me, who will basically do the business analysis for a given solution. And we might add a couple of more business analysts at a later stage, once I got a idea of how big or small this project solution support will be. We are going to suggest you, and then we basically can take it up from there. So Keshav say, yeah, that's really great. So he might ask analyst, so what do you feel? So you as an analyst, you'll tell him like, yes, whatever Miss Seema have just discussed sounds really right at this moment. But let me try to observe. Let me try to make a kind of discuss these things with a couple of your executives, specifically in HR department, who are basically monitoring attendance, who are basically trying to go through these different attendance process, leave management process, and other policies and processes as per your organizational goals. So I can basically create a relevant context to the problem, and then give you a conceptual solution, and then we take it up from there in terms of actually formalizing the requirement. And what do you mean by formalizing a requirement? You normally jot down the requirement, you get it sanctioned by the product owner, sanctioned by anybody else if the product owner is busy. Because product owner is a kind of very senior person, and he or she might not be available every time you walk into the State Farm office, right? So for that, he might nominate somebody like an HR manager, HR executive, to coordinate with the business analyst on a day-to-day basis. So I normally jot down all the contact information. I normally take down all these relevant information and the audio file which I have discussed with the meeting. I normally go to my office, create these minutes of meeting in a Excel, Word, whatever templates Infosys uses. Well, Infosys uses an Excel for minutes of meeting. I'm going to share the same template with you, where we have to just fill in the blanks, like who were the attendees of the meeting, who have called the meeting, Who are the scribes? Scribe means who take the attendance of the meeting. That is me as a business analyst. I create, I'm creating the document. I'm creating the minutes of meeting, which has to be also most case sanctioned by the client, sanctioned by the stakeholder. Now here, one meeting is not enough, because one meeting I'm just understood the vision. Now I need to understand the background of it. I might need to stand beside the supervisor for attendance for a couple of days and try to understand how deep is the problem, and what type of employees do normally do this manual or automated attendance system. Are they intelligent enough to accept something like biometric iris scanner? Are they intelligent enough to basically understand how the automation works in a real life? And they might not get any misconceptions or something like that sort. So I need to work with the executives and the HR manager to make them understand how I'm going to do the analysis. And this is just the start of analysis. I might have 20, 15, 30 meetings as we just discussed, where all these minutes of meeting keep adding to the requirement list slowly, steadily. We're going to do a hands-on workshop so that you'll understand the process in depth. But at this point, do anybody have any confusion, questions for me about business analysis work overall? We are just getting warmed up. Yes.
No, sir.
Yeah, okay, right? So you understood whatever I have discussed, right? Even if you're not, we're going to have a practical workshop. So please don't worry. But if you have a question, do ask, and you can stop me in between also. You don't have to say sorry. Okay? I'll worry about the continuation and all those things. But at the end of the day, your doubt should be get clear. That's the priority here. If I'm creating more doubts, this training session might be useless, right? So for that matter, I want you to ask questions then and there whenever you get confusion. Okay, just go through this slide for a minute, and even if you missed any word that I might have not explained completely in detail, I'll basically guide you on that as well. Please go through this slide again. So are we good?
Yes, sir. Yep.
So let me take you a step ahead. Now here we are basically trying to understand the actual skill set. Then we'll start with the formalized business analyst process, how it's done in terms of number of number of steps to be taken to do the business analyst, number of templates to be used to do the business analyst. First, let's revise what we have understood as far as business analyst's role as of date. So business analysts play a role in aligning the designed and delivered solution with the needs of a stakeholder. Now here, what they say, if you're doing a kind of enhancement, you are aligning yourself with the solution already exists, and then you build a solution on top of that. Mostly 90% plus this is the scenario, because every organization you work as an analyst, they might have some software there, they might have some a solution installed at their vicinity, which you might need to enhance. So normally nowadays you normally enhance the solutions for our day-to-day business analysis role, rather than you create a new from a scratch. The activity that business analysis performs include understanding the enterprise problem and a goal. In case of attendance management solution, we'll try to understand how the manuals, attendance management process is a faulty with lots of leakages and gaps, right? And that's why I normally try to give you a clear idea in terms of how this, analysis to be done in a better way, in a best practices implemented way. Okay, so understanding enterprise problems and a goal is a kind of first step towards doing the right analysis, analyzing needs and solution. So how do I analyze need? I meet and greet those people nowadays, mostly Zoom, Google, and various online meets, and I create the recordings also. I also take the minutes of meetings. I play the voice recording, and I try to make sure I have not missed any minutes of meeting during those meetings. So I analyze the needs and analyze the solution which can be implemented against those needs, against those requirements. Incubating the conceptual solution. Here I am conceiving the conceptual solution. So I am a kind of mother to a child where I think or I give a birth to that solution in a conceptual way. Okay? Anybody have any question for me? No problem. And then I devise some strategy in terms of every time checking, am I doing right? Am I doing the best? Am I implementing the best practices available for a given business analyst? And then facilitate the stakeholder collaboration in terms of I'll go to a HR manager, even I talk to the manual attendance supervisor and try to understand his problem. He might tell you like if I look at the gate, if I look at my clock, if I look at my WhatsApp SMS, there are guys who basically trying to enter the proxies, and this thing do happen, and it's he's a human, so we can't blame him also. This does mean that he's not keeping a good attendance on that attendance process actually, but still, you know, that's why we normally try to automate things, right? And automate labors or a manual thing, and taking attendance is a is a laborious process, right? So what we are trying to do, we are trying to automate it, we are trying to make it more efficient, and we'll discuss like how the biometrics basically make the attendance process more efficient. Okay, now this way, how the business analyst shape his or her role. And as a business analyst, I might need to strategize it. I might need to basically give a good thought process. How can I do best at my job? How can I be the best person at my job? Okay, so this way, as an analyst, I keep thinking, I keep evolving myself, I keep doing better day by day, and this is how the analyst work. Okay, now let's go to a level. Well, we already have a look at these things in terms of BA book. Let's revise how BA book helps us out, right? A guide to a business analyst body of language is the standard for practice business analysts and professionals who perform business analysis tasks. You've seen this definition, right? Please do write this definition 4-5 times that you'll understand. And even if you have any challenge, please do ask me anytime, right? So please don't stop yourself from asking questions. This definition should be by heart. So whenever somebody asks what does business analyst do, you should be able to tell him this definition. Business analyst is the practice of building solution, conceptualizing for a stakeholder in a corporate context. Actually, this is the right definition. I'll just paste it in the in a WhatsApp group so that you can basically come on it guys. Okay, business analyst is a standard part. Okay, here is that. This is the actual definition, and I'll paste it in a WhatsApp as well so that you can understand in depth. Come on, I don't know why it's not pasting there. Give me a minute, please. Yes, this thing do happen sometimes. You can't able to paste it in a WhatsApp. Okay, so is basically different. Business analysis is the practice of enabling change in an organization context by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to the stakeholder. That's the actual definition. We need to understand, we need to make it by heart. Okay, and here the BA book we are trying to understand in terms of how BA book is going to help us as a business analysis professional. BA book is recognized globally as a standard business analysis best practices, policies, procedures, and templatization. It guides the business professionals with the 6 core knowledge area, which we're going to see mostly, one or two today, and then rest, in our next session. So within 6 knowledge area, describe the skills, deliverables, and technique that business analyst professional required to achieve better business outcome. The business analyst body of language or a BA book is an official IIBA guide for ECBA, CCBA, CCABP, and the other certification which they basically give you as a benchmark for business analysis maturity. In overview of BA book, it's easy to understand manner and mastering B book essential to crack all these certification. Let me play you a small video where I'll try to guide you in terms of how this Babook introduction is a good help for a business analyst. Okay, let me play that video for you. Let me pause the recording. Oh man. Okay. Where do I go? Yeah. It's like Babook introduction, right? Yeah. It's a small video of 5.5 minutes. Let's have a look at it and then we'll discuss it further. Could you see a man holding business analyst body of language as a play card?
Nope.
Okay, I'm not sure this thing. Could you see now business analyst community, business analyst?
Yeah.
So let's have a look at this video and then move. This video is from Iiba website. They have given this as an introductory video. I do play this video to make sure these are all really great mentors. The way they've explained is far better than anybody else can do it. So these video are kind of exemplary learning for us, and that's why I play this video. And I'll also share the link of this video so that you can have a look at this video, which are available mostly on a YouTube or their respective copyrighted site. These videos are not created by me. These videos are taken from the best possible vendors. Okay, I do have a habit of playing such video once or twice a session to make you understand the direct word of mouth from these really great intelligent individuals. Okay, so let's have a look at this video and then we'll discuss more. Again, this is not a copyrighted by me. This is copyrighted by the IIBA or a Zoomer in this case. Okay, let's hear it now.
This analysis body of knowledge, also known as BABOK, has been developed by International Institute of Business Analysis to support the business analysis community. BABOK has been drafted to define the global standards for the practice of business analysis. This video introduces you to the structure of BABOK. BABOK Guide provides a business analysis core competency model called BACCM. The BACCM framework is implemented via 6 core concepts. These 6 core concepts are then applied to 6 business analysis knowledge areas. Each of these knowledge areas defines business analysis tasks, which must be carried out to perform business analysis. These tasks are performed by business analysis practitioners called business analysts. Each business analysis task is described by 8 unique attributes. Business analysts may employ different competencies, knowledge, and skills to perform business analysis tasks to complete business analysis work. Another BABOK concept is perspectives. It provides the context of business analysts for better execution of business analysis tasks. Perspectives define various views of business analysis. Let's take a look at all these BABOK components in a little more detail, starting with BACCM. BACCM is a conceptual framework of business analysis. It encompasses what is business analysis and what it means to those performing business analysis tasks, irrespective of perspective, industry, methodology, or level in the organization. Business analysis core competency model is implemented via 6 core concepts: change, need, solution, stakeholder, value, and context. These core concepts are applied to 6 business analysis knowledge areas. These represent areas of specific business analysis expertise. These 6 knowledge areas are business analysis planning and monitoring, solicitation and collaboration, requirements lifecycle management, strategy analysis, requirements analysis and design definition, and solution evaluation. These 6 knowledge areas have several underlying tasks. A task is a discrete piece of work that is performed formally or informally as part of business analysis work. In all, there are 30 business analysis tasks. Each task is defined by 8 unique attributes. These are purpose, description, inputs, elements, guidelines and tools, techniques, stakeholders, and outputs. Perspectives provide ways to approach business analysis work in a more focused manner suitable to the context of the initiative in the enterprise. The perspectives included in the BABOK guide are Agile, business intelligence, information technology, business architecture, and business process management. Any given initiative might employ more than one perspective. Perspectives have the following structure: change scope, business analysis scope, methodologies, approaches and techniques, underlying competencies, and impact on knowledge areas. Competencies reflect knowledge, skills, behaviors, characteristics, and personal qualities of practitioners of business analysis. Competencies follow the trifold structure: purpose, definition, and effectiveness measures. Successful execution of business analysis tasks and techniques is often dependent on the proficiency in one or more underlying competencies. Let me summarize. BABOK has been drafted to define the global standards for the practice of business analysis. BABOK Guide provides a business analysis core competency model called BACCM. BACCM is the conceptual framework of business analysis and is implemented via 6 core concepts. For example, the core concept need is a problem or opportunity that has to be addressed by implementing a solution. BACCM's 6 core concepts are applied to 6 business analysis knowledge areas. A knowledge area represents areas of specific business analysis expertise. For example, business analysis planning and monitoring knowledge area deals with organizing, planning, and coordinating efforts of business analysts and stakeholders. Each knowledge area includes a set of tasks for business analysts to perform. There are a total of 30 business analysis tasks. An example of a task is planned business analysis approach in the business analysis planning and monitoring knowledge area. Each business analysis task is described by 8 unique attributes. An example of an attribute is guidelines and tools that are needed to conduct the task effectively. In addition to BACCM core concepts, knowledge areas, business analysis tasks, and its attributes, there are 2 other concepts relevant to business analysis. They are perspective and competencies. Competencies reflect knowledge, skills, behaviors, characteristics, and personal qualities of practitioners of business analysis, whereas perspectives provide ways to approach business analysis work in a more focused manner suitable to the context of the initiative in the enterprise. This brings us to an end of this video.
So anybody have any questions on this BABOK standardization? Have you understood what those really great mentors at IIBA was trying to explain? Any questions on that? Okay, no problem. I'll take it as you don't have any question as of now. Okay, so let me go ahead and start understanding or start discussing these knowledge area one by one. The first knowledge area is BA planning and monitoring or business analysis planning and monitoring. Here we are trying to understand how me as a business analyst can work or plan my task in terms of how to do the business analyst and how I can keep monitoring in a step-by-step way, right? This is the first knowledge area for the business analysis, execution practices. This describes the task that business analysts perform to organize and to coordinate the effort of business analysts and stakeholders. So if you are a team of, let's say, 2 business analysts, 3 business analysts, you normally work together. You work in a cohesion, you work in a team, right? So for that, you have to basically sync up the requirement which are collected. You need to get them validated, sanctioned by the client so that you can post them as a sanction requirement in the SRS. Pardon me for this thing. I don't know what's happening to my throat. But yes, so for that matter, what we are trying to do, we are trying to make the effort to make sure all the business analysts which are working for a given business analysis task at hand or a business analyst work, we have to in sync with the overall process progress. And here, how we do it? We do it with the BA planning and monitoring. So what do you mean by BA planning? We plan the task. So if there are, let's say, 3 business analysts, I'll have some meeting arranged for myself. I'll have some another meeting arranged for the other 2 as well. Or in within 3, we normally distribute these meetings and then creates the minutes of meeting of whatever we have attended. And this way, all these 3 minutes of meeting are normally added to our archival, the documents, the Word document or the Excel sheet, and then we create a uniform list of requirement which has to be sanctioned, which has to be processed further into the conceptual diagram, into the SRS. And this is how I do it. So I'll basically sync up with the other BAs as well. If I'm working alone, no problem. So I don't have to do the syncing, but yes, I need to get it formally sanctioned, formally approved from the client, from the stakeholder. These tasks produce the output that are used as a key inputs and guidelines for the other tasks throughout the BABU guide. So this is the first and an initial step as they have discussed here. Have you understood the BA planning and monitoring? Anybody have any confusion on this?
No, sir.
Right? Yes. Now we need to understand. Let's try to understand in a input, output, and a processing way. What do you mean by that? See, whatever we do, right? Let's think of it a process of making tea. So making tea, you need some input. You need water. You need a water in a pot. Then you put the tea powder. Then you put the masala if you want to. Then you bring it to a boil. Then you add the milk. Then again you get it to a boil. Then you might filter the tea or add some cream, sugar, whatever you want to add, and then the tea is ready for you. So we are going to understand all these processes in an input, the task of the processing and output way. For a tea, the water, the tea powder, the masala, milk, cream are the inputs. The task, get it to a boil, mix it, get it to a boil, filter it, and then drink it. So these are the tasks. The outputs are basically the satisfaction of a drinking tea, right? And that's a kind of way we're going to understand each of these knowledge area, each of these topics in a one way after another. Have you understood the relevance, or do I have to explain in another example as far as input, process, output, or input, task, output kind of way?
No, sir. Actually, I just want to tell one thing. Like I'm just telling about myself. I don't know about others. If they're thinking like, why I'm telling all the time, yes or no. So I just wanted to make it clear about that.
About what, sir? I completely.
I'm just telling about myself, like whether I understand or not. So
Yeah, that's okay. See, I need at least one person to say,
Yeah.
because it means that everybody else can also hear us. That's what I can make it out, right? Otherwise, it's really difficult to make sure like whatever I said has been reached to your ears or not, right?
yeah. Because I'm
Uh,
like not used to like one way listening or learning. So I just want to.
Sir, one way learning doesn't work nowadays,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Efficient, we have to be acknowledging, we have to be reciprocative. Believe me, even within husband and wife, if you couldn't reciprocate, the other will think that he's a fool or he's a dumb, right? And that's a normal process. So even our day-to-day life, we need to be kind of responsive. And please be responsive and be vocal about your problems, be vocal about your understanding, confusion, whatnot, so that even I get better feedback, I can improve myself if that's the need. Okay, and that's why I keep asking these questions. Please don't feel otherwise, sir, and
Yeah.
all questions are always welcome. Please don't stop yourself, that's what I'll say. Okay,
Yes, sir. Sure. Thank you.
most welcome, sir. So let's go ahead. So let's try to understand from input, task, or a processes or output perspective. The inputs here are needs and performance objective. The needs are kind of strategic requirements here, but I'm just collecting at a tactical level. Okay, let me explain the strategy and tactical part of it. In English, this is a linguistic, points. Tactical means whatever problem at hand will be solved with the given thing. Strategic means the problem which I foresee, I have planned for it, and I planned it for at least 3 months in advance, 6 months in advance, and then I tackle that problem to the end level. So strategic name for need is a requirement. Why we call it strategic? Because I think ahead, I plan ahead to collect needs, to collect the wish list. I normally call it, I'm planning a kind of requirement analysis. So what I'm doing, I'm trying to understand their needs, or I'm trying to basically getting ready to get their needs, to understand their needs and plan it accordingly. That's why requirement is not mentioned here. They mention need, which is a tactical measure for requirement. Okay, I'm just clarifying for you in a linguistic way, because as far as analyst goes, we need to be really great in terms of linguistics, because whatever word we use makes a different relevant meaning in a given context. That's why we have to use corporate English. We have to use this corporate verbose what we use in our day-to-day our organizational levels, right? And that's what a kind of a requirement here. Performance objective. No, not all are performance object. Not all are requirement. Let me tell you a simple way. When a VPHR of a state farm explains you a thought process, like he wants the attendance to be done within max to max 20 seconds, and that's what the efficiency he's looking for, the new enhanced attendance management system. So, could you think it? How could we achieve this? Can anybody give a thought to that? How can we achieve the attendance within 20 seconds for each and every employee? How could we do it? So, if there are 1,000 employees, the attendance should be done in 5-6 minutes normally. Means the number into 20 seconds. No, not 5-6 minutes, like 50-60 minutes. Yes. Anybody wants to take this challenge? How could you done attendance in 20 seconds? I need a solution. I want you to think like a business analyst now.
Iris scanner.
Perfect. Iris scanner, biometric scanner. Iris scanner is a bit slower, but biometric scanner is faster, because you just put finger and move away, right? So normally, if you look at the actual practical, example, normally even if you're standing in a line, you can have 10 to 15, normally 30 or attendance in a minute. That's the normal business standard. You can go to a biometric site of any biometric vendor, and he will basically mention you these things. Like you get the attendance in of a 30 people in a minute, and that's fair enough. Means that's the most efficient way to do it. And all the software does the work at the background to collect the data elements from the biometric reader and everything, right? So this way we are making the process much efficient. In a normal manual way, it takes at least a minute to take an attendance. Here we are doing 30 attendance in a minute, so it's much better than a 20-second performance what we have intended for. Now these performance parameters are not a requirement, because it's a wish list, right? They're trying to tell you, hey business analyst, I want to make the attendance an efficient process. So efficient in the sense, I want to have at least attendance taken 1 in a 20 seconds rather than we have 1 in a minute right now. And they might study these historical figures from their experiences and they share with you. Now, how do you do it? You have to take these, as an performance objectives, like how fast, how efficiently you can do these processes implemented at actual practical levels. Now, what are the different tasks I'm going to do in terms of doing processes on this input? First is plan analysis approach. As we have seen in the steps of those business analysis, work, this is the one of the most prominent step. I have to plan business analysis approach. So how do I plan? I'll plan the meetings. I'll basically plan the way I want to approach to the solution. I have to plan which are the better options. Should we use iris scanner? Should we use biometric? Should we use any other ways and means which are available technologically in the given vicinity, given area? So I need to plan it ahead. I need to plan the even stakeholder engagement. I can't just walk into an office and ask the executive to give me minutes of a busy schedule. So what I do, I might plan a meeting. I might call him or her saying, "Hey executive, can we meet on Monday at around 2 p.m. for around 15-20 minutes?" He said, "Why do you want to?" He or she might ask you, "What do you want to eat?" See, we are building a solution for your company called State Farm, and for that attendance management process, I think you are a really great stakeholder, and you might have some say into that, solution, like how you should want it, what should be inclusion, what should be exclusion, and all those things, right? So I want to take your view. I want to understand your approach towards this problem or the solution. If you have any wish list into that, he or she might feel elevated, right? Because you are asking for his or her advice. And as a human psychology, you have to ask in a diplomatic manner. And that's how diplomacy is a need of analyst as well. Now let me come back to the work at hand. Plan stakeholder engagement. So I need to plan such meeting well in time, well in advance, so that the other party is obligated to give me time for a couple of minutes, for a couple of normally it's a couple of minutes only. We don't normally keep discussing for hours together unless we are discussing in a group. Normally, the business analyst meet lasts for hardly anything from 10 minutes to 30-40 minutes at the max. And that's a practical experience I'm talking about. Whenever you will start working, your guidance, mentor, boss, reporting officer will guide you for that. So this is how I need to plan the stakeholder engagement. How should I engage? Should personal meeting is better? Can I do it while online meeting? Can I do it while meet at a gym, meet at a bar, meet at a hotel for a dinner or a lunch? Again, I need to plan it ahead. Depending upon the executive's timeline, schedule, and all those things, I might need to plan it. Even I have did good number of business analyst meeting at an airport as well. You need to fly down there, have a meeting for around 30-40 minutes, eat something with the person, get connected informally, and then fly back. So this is a common practice in North America and Canadian region. The planned business analyst governance. How do you governance? What do you mean by governance? You govern the execution. You control the execution. So how do you do it? You normally try to plan it ahead. You normally try to understand how many minutes will it take. Should flying be a good option? Driving be another option? How about the economics of the project? Is it well funded? Then I might choose a flight plan. If it's not well funded, I might drive down there with a rental car or something. And this way, I govern my approaches. I govern my business analyst plan itself. How can I do it effectively? Can I have 2 meetings at one place? Can I call 2 or 3 executive at an airport where they are staying at a different city, state, and I might land there at say around at a lunchtime or something, and have them driven to the airport and have a meetings there. And this is a real life scenario. Believe me, we do have good number of meetings at the airport before pre-COVID area. That's what I want to mention here, because now we have mostly online meeting, and even the other party can understand that. At that time, they were not so efficient tool in terms of online meeting and all those things, and even video conferencing is a costly affair. Now it's really easy because we have really efficient solution invented for video conferencing. All these Zoom meeting and everything is a video conference, right? So that way we are meeting, we are basically discussing an idea of business analysis, policies, and process right now. And God bless to these tool makers, we can do it effectively without any glitch, without any problems or delays in our dialogue, right? So that's why we have to understand which tool I have used, where to meet, what's the best way to approach the person, when is the good time. Even in most of the scenario, I build a list of stakeholder to plan or to govern the business analyst up to nth level. So within the stakeholder plan, I might mention Ravindra. The best time to contact is via Zoom because he is in India. And even I need to worry about the time gaps because he is in IST, I mean CST or EST. And then I need to plan the meeting accordingly, and so on and so forth. Even these meetings can be recorded, so can be served as an artifact later on. The fourth point here in the task or processes are plan, business analysis, information management. Now, when I talked about archival of artifacts, these artifacts are normally archived on a cloud or a storage like Google Drive or your organizational storage, and they have a specific folder for you in terms of number of such recordings can be uploaded there, can be stored there. And now, if you understand, even the Zoom do that uploading for you. If you give them the correct folder and authorization and authentication, the Zoom can do the file storage or copy these recording files to that destination folder after this recording have been completed or processed by the Zoom server. So even the tools can understand the business analyst job and they are ready to help you out. And so I plan the business analysis information management, information archival as normally we call it in a business analyst language or a project manager language. So we archive this information, we archive this artifact at a given centralized storage so that even other business analysts, other stakeholders can verify, sanction it. And nowadays the sanction happens on a link of a document as well. And then the fifth step is identify business analysis performance improvement. In the sense, how can I improve my performance? How can I meet 6 or 7 people in a day rather than 1 or 2 people in a day? Because as a business analyst, I meet and greet a lot in terms of understanding the requirement, understanding the background of the requirement, the wish list. Even I can enhance my solution to a level where I can have, instead of 6 months development, I might have 1.5 years of development. And this way, the business of Infosys is increasing. And that's why identify business analyst performance improvement is one of the most prominent tasks as far as my salary, my awards goes. And that's why this is also one of the most critical entity in the whole business analyst planning and monitoring process. The output from this task or the processes are, we normally create a document called business analysis approach. This is again a typical Word document, normally a template given to you whenever you start working as an analyst, and you normally just fill in the blanks here. So business analysis approach created by Ravindra for a solution of enhancing attendance management solution for a client called State Farm while I'm working at an Infosys so-and-so business unit. That's the kind of title of this Word document. And then I can have something like the approach which I have to take for collecting requirements are online meeting, personal meeting, airport meetings, this meeting, that meetings, and all those things. And the minutes of meeting will be stored at such and such place, a normally cloud server address and a directory address and the name of the file as well. And then these are the client supplied materials, the client which is given you some document in terms of picture, or you might have taken some photos of its actual attendance systems and all those things which are there right now, or the number of gates, the office buildings and blah blah things. Okay, these are a kind of need of the overall analysis. Then stakeholder engagement approach in terms of the number of stakeholder you're going to engage in the coming next week or something like that, and you plan this approach. It can be as simple as an Excel sheet with the serial number, name of the stakeholder, the time you're going to meet, the time the place you're going to meet, online, offline, bar, restaurant, wherever, and then the minutes of meeting file name. So this way you build a stakeholder engagement approach, and then you govern this approach. For governance, we don't need any actual document, or there could be a document, a Word document in terms of what type of approaches are we taking. Mostly online meeting, couple of airport meetings, and hardly few personal meeting nowadays. Few personal meeting because their office or a branch is near to your office. You can just walk down there and try to meet and greet certain really good individuals, and that way you might increase your network also, network of your personal friends, network of your personal office colleagues and all those things. So this is how I govern my approach. Then information management approach, which is also included in all 3.1 as well as 3.2. So in business analysis approach, I normally mention where am I storing that artifacts, and that's what the information management I am talking about. Where am I storing the meetings in terms of Zoom meeting, Google Meet, Microsoft Team Meets and everything. Where do I am storing the meetings, at what drive, at what Google or cloud locations and all those things. Okay, and then business analysis performance assessment in the terms what I'm going to do to improve next time, and this is kind of a footnote to the stakeholder engagement document as well. So I might say next time I'll make sure I'll have even audio recording and the Zoom recording also, because sometimes the Zoom recording might get corrupted or might get internet drop, unstable connection and blah blah things. So I have an audio recorder. So I also upload the audio file to the artifacts folder, and that way I'm making sure I'm not losing any information, any blockages during that meeting recording or the artifact creation. and that way I can keep improving my analysis performance assessment day by day and make sure rather than 4 meetings, I might be able to conduct 5 meetings a day in the next week, and I am working towards those scenarios. So this way I'm improving myself in a step-by-step manner. Have you all understood these diagram or a kind of flow in terms of input, task and output as far as business analysis, planning and monitoring is concerned? Any question for me at this moment?
No, sir.
We are good, right? So this way we plan our approach, we start our approach with the first knowledge area. Okay, we are almost at the end of our timing. So what I would really like to understand, have anybody started reading BA book, BA book, whatever they want to call it? Have you started reading BA book?
No, sir. I still didn't start. After starting.
Okay, please do start reading BA book, because it's a kind of a requirement to understand the actual best practices, right? And I believe you have the documents with you, no problem there. Other thing is that you can if you are not very fond of reading, get it converted to an audio file. You can do it online. Just type it in your Google, PDF to audio or PDF to MP3. MP3 is one of the format of audio which you can play on your mobile as well. If you get converted to audio, you can listen to it as a song whenever you are free, whenever you are driving, traveling, even whenever you are sitting on your couch having a cup of a coffee or tea as well. So you can listen it at your leisure time. Even you can listen it with your wife, kids, so that they can also understand how business analysis is being devised to a really mature policies and processes. Okay, so please try out those things. Okay, let me say goodbye right now. Let's try to wrap this session at this moment. It's almost 11 o'clock EST, and then in the next session we'll talk about the other few knowledge area. We'll try to understand in input, process, and output angle, so that we will understand what business analysts do on the ground, and then we'll start looking at the different tool sets which we normally use. First being the minutes of meeting, how do we draft minutes of meeting, then being the HLD, high level diagrams, use case diagram, fishbone diagram, this diagram, that diagram, the SWOT analysis and all those things as well. Okay, so let me wrap up this session at this moment, unless anybody have any question or question to ask at this moment.
No, sir.
Right?
So,
Yes, about that, let me stop the recording is stopped, right? So let me close this. Okay, I'll stop this recording. Close this. I'll uh,